Modok coins. Yes, Modok coins, ladies and gentlemen. Do you want more of them? Of course you do. Do you want to avoid the labor intensive grind? That is the island of Modok. For sure you do. But at the same time, you want to make it as easy as possible for your grind. You want to know what the best things you can buy with your coins. And we got it covered in this video. Now, for a lot of players, you may feel forced to go and do Modok islands because, like, look, it's the best place to get the extensive amount of coins. But at the same time, you might be best off just kind of like avoiding the stress of it, because it is stressful, especially when randomizing stuff and randomizing buffs and you get the same buffs up time and time again. And a lot of the times it is just a bit trollish. Some players have had some amazing success with just like not even doing a hit and punishing the enemy. Others have been trolled. And at the point of recording this video, Kabam are still yet to put in the 5-star shards and as well the generic 5-star signature stones, which if you've seen the first video today, you'll know about. Basically, if you want the generic signature stones, it does mean it adds up to well over, I think it's 360 of the coins that you have to spend. And as well, if you want the 5 stars, then it's going to be the princely sum of 300 coins as well. If you want to collect a limit, which I assume based on reading this is actually 15,000 5-star shards, which isn't too bad, but there are a few things I think players have like asked for as well, which we haven't seen. And as well, the tier 5 basic catalyst fragments being upped to about 5, which again increase your cost in the store depending on what you're wanting to purchase. In any case, I digress. There's a lot to go over when it comes to gathering coins, and I would recommend, if you don't like the Modok islands, then it's important to focus on things like the Dr. Modok's class use. Class use is trash when it comes to other rewards that are not coins, but the fact is, if you want to gather coins through different means and different matters, this is the first one to really do on a daily basis. And yes, using the specific class which is recommended, which at the moment and the point of recording this video is science, and I really need to get my butt in gear so I can actually kind of get this smashed out, is the case. Just use science champions. Obviously you can do that by doing low energy spend. You can do that in the Modok islands. You can go to Road to Labyrinth, which is normally a hot spot for people for grind, especially go to special quests. You then go Road to Labyrinth, you then go to the first one, and then you go there. You could also do this by the means of grinding out something like Arena, so for example. But if you want low energy spend and got energy to burn, then Road to Labyrinth is always a good place to go in order to gather that. The other thing that's more of an easier option to do is the Modok contract, which you can see here is it's just got a two-parter. It's a very simple one, and at the same time it's got pinpointed Sabertooth and as well Beast. Now, a lot of the times you'll probably just find these in Arena somewhere, and it's up to you whether or not you want to wait until the end part of the month, just do an Arena grind, and therefore you're gathering them up. But if you're really desperate to get this done, I would probably say just search up some duel targets. And I've put a link in the description to something that may help out with that. And that would be a case if you want to just smash these out quickly, then there's been some very low kind of like easy targets when it comes to kind of grinding out from a target and duel perspective from last month's target ops. So as you can see, Chronic has put out some of this for the 1 to 2 weeks and then the 3 to 4 week targets. So that's good. And links are in the description to that if any of those are actually factoring on there. Yes, there will be some that will not be on this list and were not covered for last month, but the same thing is just like your chance like your encounters with this, you'll probably even quest and finally you'll bump into some of these targets from the contracts. There's a few dual target sites which I've put links to in the description down below that may help out players that are obviously keen to do that, but it's kind of easier to do this by the means of like organically through Arena grind. It means that you're doing one and another thing at the same time, rather than saying, right, well, I'm going to go and do a load of duels, and then obviously you're then doing Arena grinding at the same time. But mainly with questing, you'll probably bump into, like I said, a lot of these champions as you go through this month. Now, through the course of the next week, I'm probably going to find some kind of synergy teams that maybe work really well to grind this out. But the limitation is that you're probably going to say to yourself, I'm going to have to do this particular event, but at the same time, can I afford to drop down a difficulty to make sure that I may be overpowered against the content, which, let's face it, randomizers can be incredibly frustrating and trollish at times. And yeah, you're probably kind of wondering to yourself like, well, should I be getting loads of these deleters and therefore kind of eating the extent of this particular event, which obviously requires currency to buy the decent stuff. So therefore, do I want to be spending on like deleter and then like revives, and then also the fact that as well, like the buff randomizer costs 2,500 a time, which look can be like really expensive when you come to think about it, especially if you're eating 6 to 8 a time when it comes to grinding out the event. This then made me think about options of making the situation easier for you. Now I've put on screen at the moment the take home from coins from Modok Island, Modok solo events, and as well Modok contracts. It gives you the example on screen. If you do epic for 30 times based on the 2 free of those sample collectors that we got, it's 30 in total, obviously 28 in the calendar, 2 from the in-game message. So therefore you're up to 1,800 if you do epic, 900 of the coins if you do master, 450 if you do heroic, and normal you get to 150. The Modok solo gives you for 36 coins a day for 28 days for 100%ing 1,008. Now the question needs to be asked, like, can I make this event easier on myself and still take home a good amount of coins? Now, as you can see on screen, I've got 2 scenarios for you. So scenario 1 is that if you're, say, a person that normally would do epic, but it's like it is ridiculously trollish. If you drop down to do master, yes, you lose 900 coins, but as well you have less hassle. Less hassle gives you 2,168 coins total. And then if you do heroic, if you're someone that would go like, well, master's too trollish, I am going to do heroic, because obviously that's where you are with whatever scheme you are in the game, and obviously your champion's strength, then you can do and get home and take home 1,718 coins total. The burning question is, how do I divide that up between things? It looks like I don't really have any kind of like idea of what I'm going to spend on and where I'm currently at in the game. Well, I've got you covered with some breakdowns. I've got a couple of options for you when it comes to breaking down that 2,168, and obviously you can take off the totals and balance this how you see fit based on where you are in the game, based on your progression. Now here on screen are your options. Now obviously, as I said, this breaks down to 2,168 spend, but at the same time does give options for players if you want to then take off that amount. And especially with option 1, which looks like with the Awakening Gem Crystal, the 25-star generics, which obviously is going to be something added in later on, and then as well the 25-star signature crystal, coupled with some revives, some health potions, gives a spend of 1,736 with 432 coins left over. And yes, do bear in mind the generics are going to be coming in later on, but does give a relatively, I'd say, acceptable covering over various things, with leftovers to then spend how you see fit, and that could be in anywhere, shape and form, even the 5 stars that are coming in at a later date as well. And this is largely where option 2 comes in. With 15 times 1,000 5-star shards as per the announcement is a cost of 300. We've got the generic signature stones, the signature stone crystal, the tier 2 alpha in there, and as well as tier 5 basic fragments, and as well level 2 revives and health potions, which is the level 4 one. The fact is that gives you a 2,088 spend with 80 left over. And look, that's again is a really good spend. So you got options there, whether or not you're only able to do the master or only able to do the heroic. It does give you options of how you can break up your spending habits to what you take home for that given month, whether or not you're into Awakening Gem Crystals, whether or not you're into shards, or signature stones, and as well things like tier 5 basic fragments and as well tier 2 alpha. It's all helpful to the roster based on what you're willing to grind out this month. There we go, that has been a video, just some kind of like pointers of where the grind should be and how to do the grind. As I said, respectively, if you are only thinking about you wanting to do heroic, then you can take off a chunk off the totalage, and obviously you've seen that on the screen, so you can pause the screen wherever and just can obviously go like, right, okay, well, I'll do this one instead, I'll do that one instead, this looks good. You could even mix and match. You could say, right, I'm going to do a little bit of epic for a while, gather as much coins as possible. Yes, it's going to be a little bit stressful, but at the same time, if you're going to be spending that buff deleter more often, then it does take off your profit margins from you grinding out the particular event. Is an optional thing to say, like if you take off 20 from say your profit of 60 from doing an epic, it will leave you with 10 more coin profit from doing that as opposed to doing a master. So that is an option, but at the same time, if you're coming up against what is like just constant scuffy fights, then one buff being removed isn't going to be great. It's just going to be an average improvement. But that's your options there. If you are struggling, yes, use the buff deleter, but at the same time, yes, it will take off your profit margins. I used to say profit margins like it's an actual thing, but you know what I mean. From taking off like the extent of what you can take home. So maybe mix and match, but do bear in mind if you do find yourself commonly using or consistently using those buff deleters, then obviously question whether a hassle-free grind into something else would be better, and obviously assess whether or not you're spending lots on revives and units in general and whether or not it's actually worth it. So there we have it. That's been a little video just looking at the extent of how to get Modok coins, the kind of limitations you have for the extent of grind you want to do, whether or not it's worth dropping down a difficulty scale to make the event more easier for yourself, and as well the maximum take home that you can potentially do. And it's up to you what you do, how you take it home, and as well how your spending habits are based on where you're at in the game. I wish you good luck in this piece of content because it isn't exactly the most brilliant, but I'll be doing some other videos, maybe looking at synergizing champions in order to make them do content easier, especially in this Confine of Islands Modocs thing. But yeah, thanks very much for watching this video. Check out today's little update video as well about the state of affairs with this particular game mode and some other stuff which will be happening very, very soon. And as well, another video on the far left and some other channels and stuff down there that I do. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye for now.